Let's do this. Hello everyone, my name is Dua Shakara and I am an athlete who is 31 weeks pregnant. That is 8 months in a week's time for all of you people who can't maths. I'm gonna go through my pregnancy journey so far, breaking it down into trimesters. In the words of my OB, pregnancy is like taking a flight. It's rocky upon takeoff, then you're cruising for a bit in the air, and then it's rocky again when you're landing. That's pretty much a summary as to how each trimester generally goes. Now, this is my experience and it's very up and down, a lot of depressing parts, a lot of happy parts, a lot of active parts. That doesn't mean your pregnancy is going to be the same as mine. I am merely making this video to show you guys what is possible. Don't use it as a benchmark as to how yours is going to go. First trimester. These 3 months of my life are probably the lowest low I've ever experienced, ever. I'm gonna start off with how I actually found out. This was an accident, baby. My period was late for 5 days. I did a pregnancy test and bawled my eyes out on the bathroom floor. Pregnancy was always something that I knew I was gonna do eventually, but I kept holding off on it because of my career, because of wanting to kind of complete my 20s baby free. I'm 28 at the moment, so almost at 30, but not quite. And so with that shock came prenatal depression. Yes. Being depressed whilst pregnant is probably the worst kind of depressed you can be, because your hormones are already out of whack. Plus you're really sad, equals it's not looking good. I literally spent the first 3 months on the corner of my couch crying and saying that I hated my life. And it's so bizarre because really I have such a blessed and fortunate life. Yet I just couldn't find it in me to be happy. I was going through an identity crisis and I was trying to figure out what motherhood meant and how that would slot into my lifestyle. Can I still maintain myself whilst taking on this whole new responsibility? Am I going to be a good mother? Can I still be active? What does that mean for my online persona as well? Absolutely petrified to announce it to the internet. All of these thoughts just basically made me spiral. Alongside this, I had 24/7 nausea. If someone were to recommend a food, I will gag at the thought of that food. That's how bad the nausea was. You are absolutely exhausted all the time. The amount of naps I was taking, and obviously I hadn't told anyone that I was pregnant at the time, so trying to complete my work just felt like an absolute mission. I couldn't even fathom the idea of leaving my front door. That's how exhausted I was. My digestive system was disgusting. You're constipated for like 3 days straight. You feel heavy, you're bloated. I just did not feel like myself in every single aspect possible. Food, something that I looked forward to. I couldn't stomach anything. I didn't look forward to eating, but I had to force feed myself to keep the nausea down. It really was the lowest low of my life. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I have been depressed one other time whilst I was taking the pill, and I realized it was the pill that was messing with my hormones. When I stopped, I was fine again. This hit me 10 times harder. There are certain women who are more receptive to hormonal changes. It's called hormonal sensitivity. Mine, I've realized, is through the roof, and I think a good way to gauge whether you are hormonally sensitive is monitor how you feel like on PMS week. In order to combat all of these feelings of depression, I did some therapy. Now, the therapy that I usually do is NLP. I've been with this therapist for years and she's absolutely incredible. And I know it sounds simple, but we basically did a few hypnosis exercises that made me visualize all the positive outcomes that could come out of motherhood. Essentially, it's a beautiful thing, but I was just so caught up in the what if this happens, what if that happens. I was worried about the clouds that hadn't passed over my head. Remember the first session, I was just bawling my eyes out straight away. And I was like, everything's gonna change. She was like, let's focus on what's not gonna change. Your house isn't gonna change. Yes, it is gonna change because you're gonna get a bigger place. I was an emotional wreck. With that being said, it did help lighten the load for sure. If you can afford therapy, I know it's a very privileged thing to have access to. I highly recommend you seek help. NLP therapy in particular is the thing that saved me time and time again. In terms of training, I was doing 1 Muay Thai PT a week. I wanted it to be controlled, and I wanted a instructor who was a woman who could relate to me to some extent and understand that I was going through it. Those sessions, although very difficult, were so essential to keep me going through the first trimester. It was just a nice endorphin hit. It was nice to hit pads. It was nice to feel like I was myself again. Apart from that 1 session a week, I would supplement it with gym, weights, all that jazz, just to keep my joints moving. It was very difficult to find the motivation to get out of bed sometimes. I am proud to say during the first trimester I kept my body moving, and there was a 2-week slump where I did nothing. Like, that was probably the lowest low, and then I was able to get out of it and start moving again. Enter the second trimester. It does get better. The second trimester introduces a whole new wave of hormones, happy hormones, that make you feel good about yourself. You have more energy. And this was the trimester where I really saw the benefits of my therapy kick in. I started accepting the idea of motherhood and realized that I had to evolve eventually. It's boring if you're the same person you were 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. As humans, we should always be evolving and learning and changing and growing, unless you're Madonna. And who listens to Madonna anymore? I was really enjoying finding new ways to move my body as well during this trimester. I did Pilates, a lot of hikes. I played paddle with my husband and got cussed off by the internet. Guys, I never grew up playing racket sports, okay? Go easy on me. Someone was like, why do you swing the racket like you're jabbing it? I don't know, maybe because I've done martial arts my whole life, dude. I remember bumping into someone that I knew at the gym, and he was a young guy, so I'm gonna take it with a pinch of salt that, you know, he meant well. But he realized that I was pregnant, and he was asking me like, oh, are you working out because you don't want to get fat? And I looked at him and I was like, I work out to feel good, and I work out to stay strong. There are an array of benefits that you should lean into first, besides not wanting to be fat. It's just interesting to see how people are conditioned to think about pregnant woman. There are endless benefits before wanting to look good. I do feel like we place a lot of pressure on ourselves to look a certain way during pregnancy, after pregnancy. In the late 90s, they made Victoria Beckham stand on scales a couple months after she gave birth on national British television, just to see if she had bounced back or not, or how much weight she had gained. I do wanna hone in. Movement should feel freeing as opposed to a prison, because you wanna subject yourself to a number on the scales. Feeling strong slumps, wanting to be skinny, trust me. During this trimester, we also visited China, which was absolutely incredible. I have a vlog out if you guys wanna peep into that. We were banging out like 15 to 20K steps every single day, and I just felt good in a different country. We were exploring, and sure, there were times where I'd have sugar crashes, and later I realized I had low iron, but I just made sure to carry a lot of snacks, and we were good to go pretty much. And that brings us to the third and final trimester, which is what we're currently in. The day I hit the third trimester, I bawled my eyes out. It started getting emotional again, but not as bad as the first. Now there's new fears of the actual birth giving part. I have opted for an elective C-section. Now I know this is very divisive, so I won't get into it. Let me know if you want me to talk about it in more depth in another video. There are many reasons why I chose to do an elective C-section and why it's appealing for athletes in particular. So yeah, we're popping this baby out the sunroof. That's gonna be fun. All in all, energy levels are pretty stable, but you're just a lot heavier, so you don't feel like doing as much. During this trimester, I stopped doing Muay Thai and started focusing more on boxing. Not that I can't do Muay Thai, but because I'm trying to preserve my pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor is basically your muscles down there. If you damage them, it can be irreversible, and it's very easy to damage them during pregnancy. So as a result, I have switched to just boxing. There's a local boxing gym down my road that's like 10-minute walk from me, and yeah, I just have 2 of those booked a week. I also want to hammer in, comparison is the thief of joy. There are so many highlight reels online of women having a perfect active pregnancy throughout all 9 months. And I really want to remind you that this is a small window into people's lives. Listen to your body. Some people have it more rough than others. And you know, as horrific as my first trimester sounds, there are women who have it way worse than me. Don't think of downtime as a negative thing. It is necessary. The fastest raced horses in the world have the most amount of downtime. You need to slow down so that you can speed up. I am blessed to say that I can still move and I can still work out, but there's a lot of women who can't, and that's okay. Don't compare your journey to someone else's. Everyone's capacity is different. Another interesting thing about this trimester is that I really craved dirt. D-I-R-T, dirt. When it would rain and the soil would get wet, I'd just go out and just be like, oh yeah, give it to me. The dirt craving was so intense that even the cleanser that I used to take off my makeup, it smelled earthy and a bit grainy. I would spend ages just removing my makeup because of the sensation and the smell. I loved it so much. You literally turn animalistic. It's crazy. So I looked it up and told my OB, and he told me these are signs of PCOS. When your iron is really low, you crave dirt. So we did a blood test. Lo and behold, I had really low iron. I got a iron transfusion and now I'm feeling really good. Energy levels are up. I do miss really enjoying that cleansing sensation. Like, it's not as enjoyable anymore. So yeah, that is pretty much my whole pregnancy journey from start to now. Really excited for this next chapter of our lives, and thank you guys for watching.